must have heard about the $2.25 million that the Clooney Foundation recently donated to 7 public schools in Lebanon to aid the Syrian refugee crisis. What I want to know is the education ministry's role in assisting specifically the Lebanese youth. So, I'm meeting Marwan Hamade, who has presided over 8 ministries in his career and remains to this day one of, if not the most, omnipresent politicians in Lebanese history. The Lebanese youth, when you talk to them today, when you go out and you meet the youth, you meet these children, what are the questions you mostly get? What do you see in them in today's?
They receive very good education, especially compared to the rest of the Arab world. But yet, we are starting to lose pace on numerical education, on everything that would drive our education system into the 21st century. Imagine that since 1997, we haven't had a change of programs. So we have not updated our programs. And now I've started a huge site of work in our research and development programs for education with the assistance of the World Bank. We have something like $200 million that are
for which level?
School, primary and secondary schools. And you know, these are the levels who are the main, I would say, basis for
the future.
The future.
Yes.
And once you reach universities, there are a lot of universities in Lebanon. Some are of very high quality, some are not that.
Less.
Yeah, much less.
A little less.
But in general, we are starting to follow up to cope with the challenges of the century. What we want to do now is, one, to give more job opportunities and therefore to choose in the program the future path of this youth. Because these people, if they study only Arab literature and get to the market and find no job for them, it is a tragedy. So most attention I have to give is now to vocational, because we need more technical skills. We are a big exporter of skills to the world. What we need is to continue to develop this kind of skills, but go into more sophisticated skills that create jobs, that create...
So with the World Bank, you're reformatting the programs in order to encourage the youth
modernize as much as we can,
prepare them
and
for
diversify.
The skills that are needed for the century and
Yes.
the next one. You're
Yes.
saying you've been present since the early '80s. I think one of the biggest events and incidents was that you also survived an assassination attempt on October 1st, 2004. It is considered to be the incident that was the first of the series of assassinations that has left your colleagues, your nephew, and many others dead. So after 13 years now, and having been through all this, what is your take on it all?
We have to go on fighting, not only for the survival of Lebanon. Lebanon has certain specificities that had made it survive all throughout history, under different names, different configurations. But these people are resilient people. Our people are resilient people. But we are doomed. This is it's not only because of the political crisis. We've been net exporters of citizens and of skills and brains. A little bit like Ireland towards over the Atlantic, across the Atlantic, like Italy, like other people who are Portugal towards Northern Europe, and now all of Africa and Northern Africa. But in fact, what we try to keep on is the link between these youth exported, in brackets, to the foreign world and the mother country. Those who go to the Gulf, go in the Arab world, always come back here.
For the good times, they don't really come back here to live and have families and grow.
They come here, they build a house here, or they buy a house here, and they're not final and definite immigrants. But now, if you keep this country afloat, if you bring back all its sense of humanity, liberalism, constitutional regulations, freedom of speech and expression, our youth are attached to this. And so they go to Dubai, go to...
But they always come back.
They always come back. And they always send money back. And without their money back, we are bankrupt. I'm very frank with you. The money coming back from Lebanese abroad represent 30% of our national income. So imagine, it's more important than the gas and oil we are dreaming of, which is at the depth of the Mediterranean Sea, along our sea line, our sea coast.
You said that after the TAC agreement, we went from hope to disappointment to complete despair. So it's a downward slope. And you've witnessed so many downward slopes in terms of the political life of this country. Looking into the future, we have to try to be positive, and I'm sure you do that as Minister of Education. But where are we going?
Well, I'll tell you, we always have to go back to what our motto is. This is a convivial country where religions, cultures meet. I am at the crossroad of these cultures. I am of Western culture, but very, very strong Arab roots and belonging feelings. And I think this country should be what it has been, what it should become again.
Will it become
an independent country, a democratic country, an Arab country in the means that it belongs to a community, and over all things, it should be a country part of this world, a country open to the world. It cannot become an integrist country belonging to any of these foolish ideas.
But do you think the politicians today that a lot of young people criticize for being outdated, part of the same old generation, same old politics, do they have that in mind? Do they have that as a whole?
Well, you know, you have many categories of politicians.
Not a lot of young ones.
No, not a lot of young ones. They've started expressing themselves, and they're going to take over. But who's going to take over? Is it Hezbollah? Is it the Sunni integrists? Is it the Christians, isolationist people? None of these represent the Lebanese future or the Lebanese youth. It is confidence in the future, smile, Lebanon open to the world, to its brothers in the Arab world, to the world. After all, we are on the Mediterranean, we've always been, we even pretend that we have discovered America, that the Phoenicians were the first to have discovered America. We should keep discovering the world to our youth.
You know, you get up every morning, you come to work here, and you realize this is what you work for. Is there a ministry you preferred?
Health and education, the most challenging ministries.
Health and education was the most challenging one.
Health and now education.
Those were the most challenging.
Health was a big challenge. After the Civil War, I was for 7 years Minister of Health. We had to rebuild the whole health system. We had nothing. We could not vaccinate.
And this one is also challenging because of the influx, probably.
500,000 children added to our children. Imagine the birth.
Do you ever think about what you want your legacy to be? When people mention Marwan Hamade.
Well, that he did his best during very hard times.
Yes.
Hard times, better times.
The better times.
War and peace.
2000s?
War and Peace.
Yeah, in the 80s.
I was present, I was minister during the Israeli invasion. I was minister for years during the Syrian occupation. I was minister after the Cedars Revolution, which I almost paid by my life. And I'm again here to see how to get out of this.
Consider yourself a fighter and a survivor.
Yeah.
And you probably think there's a reason I'm still here. You know, when you see them, especially you on a personal level, you've seen them go. I mean, Jabran, 20.
Is it good luck? I don't know.
No, but there's a reason.
Sometimes I have a complex because I think, why should I survive?
When they all died?
Why all my colleagues, my friends have been decimated and I'm still there.
Has it helped you want to fight more because they didn't die?
I'm still the most determined.
Yeah.
In the government, I'm always the most vocal.
Most determined and most vocal, he says. Most determined to put Lebanon first and vocal about pushing the youth to the forefront. It was both inspiring and moving to hear him talk. And one thing I do agree with, the future is ours. Let's make it count.